After skipping a Christmas light display outside in 2023, I was able to set one up this year, and as you can see, this one is bigger than any setup I've ever done before. Let's go ahead and start off with the slingshot tree. I believe this is the first year I've ever had matching lights on this tree. As you can see, they're all the exact same color palette, and this is also probably the nicest that this tree has ever looked. You know, everything is nice and evenly spaced, and most importantly, there's no big gap in the lights right here like there usually is. I'm definitely super happy with how this tree came out this year. And moving on to the ground here, you'll see something else that I've never done before, and that is putting lights going kind of in a zigzag pattern across the entire yard. I believe the first time I outlined the perimeter of the yard with Christmas lights was back in 2022, but as you can see this year I finally had enough Christmas lights to do kind of a cool pattern on the rest of the yard. And we of course still have the beloved spiral trees. This is one of the ones that I've had since back in 2016. And as you can see, it's still going strong. I'm actually really impressed with these things. We'll give you guys a look at this entire section of the yard right here, and from a distance it actually looks really nice. The only real downside here is that I wanted to put that really tall spiral tree over here too, but more than half of its stand is missing. I straight up have no idea where it is, so it's just not out here this year. Other than that though, I'm definitely really happy with how this part of the yard looks. And as we walk up the driveway here, you'll see that I do have the red and green motion lights as always. And the next change that you're going to notice is that there's no white icicle lights this year. A lot of those strands ended up just not working, so I just decided to replace them with the colorful icicles for this year. Although I do plan to try to fix those white icicle lights, I just didn't have the means to do it this year, unfortunately. I also decided to put this like bundle strand on the garage door again, just like I did back in 2022. And for those who don't know, this strand is spaced pretty much exactly the same as a normal Christmas light strand is, but instead of just one light every few inches, there's 3. And I think this looks really nice. I really like the way this strand looks going around the edge of the garage door here. However, just like in 2022, I don't have enough to go all the way around the entire garage door. And I know that's kind of annoying, but at least it reaches most of the way. I also decided to put this red and white strand of C9 lights kind of at the edge of this overhang on our roof here. When I was installing them, I didn't really think about how the icicle lights would cover them up, but I think it still came out okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the bigger front yard over here. I did end up doing the zigzag pattern along this yard as well, and I just barely had enough lights to make it across the entire thing. That actually worked out completely perfectly, and this tree is pretty much the same as it is every year, even with the exact same slightly different color palette of lights at the bottom. Looking at the whole thing, you can see the lower third of this tree is just a little tiny bit different, but again, it's not really enough to notice. And just like I say every year, I actually do really like this color palette because it's not something that I've really ever seen before this strand. We've also got these 4 little tiny spiral trees over here, along with the small spiral tree from the original set that I got back in 2016. We also have the same blow mold set that we've had for quite a few years now, with the 2 candles, the Santa, and the snowman. Moving up to the porch here, I decided to do motion lights instead of C9 lights around the window, and also going along that kind of like windowsill type deal. This is actually 3 separate strands of these motion lights, and I found out that if you give them all power at the exact same time, they'll stay in sync, which is actually really cool because I didn't expect that to actually work, but I have yet to see these things go out of sync. I always love these motion lights, man. I think they just give such a cool effect, especially with this many of them going all in sync. I think it just looks awesome. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much it for the outdoor display for 2024. Hopefully this was worth the wait, not having one last year, but I definitely think this came out really cool. Hopefully next year I can have those white icicle lights fixed and we'll be able to have those up as well. I don't know, I kind of like the look of the house with less white lights on it. Although what I will say is that I miss the random twinkle of the white icicle lights. They're usually set up right about here on the roof. Now for those of you who are interested, I will be coming back to this setup after Christmas to kind of give you guys an idea of how I ran power to everything. This is the first time I've had to run this setup on 2 separate circuits, and we'll get to the reason why I had to do it that way when I release that video. I hope you're having a good Christmas Eve so far, and come back tomorrow because we are going to be doing a pretty cool Christmas special. But until then, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, thank you for watching.